I hope that's right. Once again, your question is, have I ever had a dangerous encounter? Of course I've had a dangerous encounter, spending all this time. If this is your career, your profession, you're out here every single day, every morning, every afternoon, and sometimes even during the day, trying to track down animals. If you can't find your clients anything, you need to find them something. That's why they're here. So I'll tell you a quick little story again. I'll try not to make it too long so we can go back on the focus on these beautiful cats. And I'm going to relate this to lions. Once again, working in the south of the park, driving along, haven't found lions for about 2 days. So we're kind of tracking. I had my tracker on the front seat over there. He started telling me Ngala Nkonzo, which means lion tracks in Shangaan, one of our local languages here. So I said, fantastic, let's keep following them. They kind of went down the road, and then typically, as cats, lions and leopards and things like that do during the heat of the day, they went down kind of into a drainage, so a dried up riverbed is what I'm talking about. It's one of the #1 rules as a guide, so I'm kind of embarrassing myself on camera here at the moment, is to never, ever, first of all, anything with cubs, with youngsters, follow them around on foot, especially because of course moms are going to be quite protective. But I was having a bit of a brain fart that day, and just obviously very excited to get these cats. I did have my rifle with me. I didn't use it. I don't particularly like to have a rifle with me ever, so I left it on the vehicle. I told my tracker, let's hop off, let's follow these tracks. And without thinking, you know, it is a dry riverbed, which means it's normally quite thick, a bit more thick cover, trees growing there because there is an underground water source flowing there, obviously. So not thinking very clearly, just being quite excited to get these lions. We kind of meandered down this riverbed, and the next thing, similar to this little youngster where Brian was just focusing on, probably about 2.5 months, just popped up his head, maybe about 8-9 yards from me, and I knew straight away, there's big trouble coming. There's no ways mom will be anywhere far away from a youngster of that age. So it wasn't even 1 or 2 seconds, and I first had one lioness, which I predict was the actual mom for that cub, coming straight at me. Whoa. It is deathly terrifying. They're trying to intimidate you, so it is very noisy, it is very loud, coming at me. Probably stopped maybe 4 yards from me, unbelievably close. I promise you, I was shaking. Went back, and typically, as lions do, you know, we didn't just turn around and run away. We kind of stood our ground, and as lions do, came back. But this time it wasn't just one lioness, it ended up being 4 lioness, which is something I've never experienced in my life, except for that time. It was terrifying. 4 lioness coming, thankfully all of them stopping, turning around. I was telling James, my tracker at the time, just make as much noise as possible, try and be intimidating back. And then once they kind of started settling out, we moved off slowly, obviously keeping our eyes on them. As soon as we turn our heads and start moving, we're going to become the prey. So keeping our eyes on them and slowly backing off. I tell you what though, I got back in the vehicle, the guests weren't too far away, so their eyes was this big, and asking Chris what's going on, and I said, I had a little small encounter with the lion, standing there shaking like this. Got back in the vehicle. Well, actually, sorry, I lie. I didn't get back straight in the vehicle. I first walked about 2 times around the vehicle. For what reason, I do not know. Obviously, just the nerves. But then got back into the vehicle, started the engine, and I just wanted to get out of there. I said on the radio, please, it's a negative lock, guys. Don't come here. These lions are not very happy at the moment. And then had a bit of an embarrassing stall with my vehicle because my foot on the clutch wasn't doing too well. It was kind of going so yeah, it was quite a terrifying moment. It wasn't the only one I had, but it was definitely up there in the top 3, I'll tell you.